Are you dreaming of owning a home in Canada, but you think the costs are just way too overwhelming? Well, not to worry, I am here to guide you through the entire process. In this video, I'm going to outline every single cost there is involved with buying a home here in Canada, all the way from the small ones up to the biggest ones. That way, by the end of this video, you have a full understanding and full transparency of exactly what you're getting yourself into. Before we dive into that, my name's Jarrett White. I'm a mortgage broker here in British Columbia, Canada. I run a mortgage team called White Ridge Mortgage, and my goal with this channel is to educate you and others on mortgages and hopefully save you tens of thousands of dollars over the course of you owning a home. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified, and like this video so more people just like yourself can find my videos. I'd appreciate it so much. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go over some of the costs. To name a few, we got property tax, strata fees, heat, home insurance, mortgage default insurance, title insurance, regular home insurance, which would include like fire, earthquake, and flood insurance. You got an appraisal fee and home inspection fee. You got your property transfer tax. You got legal fees. There is so much that goes into buying a home, and it's so important you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and how much it's gonna cost. Let's start off with the small expenses that can quickly add up. These would be things like moving expenses. Most people don't consider that when they buy a home, they're likely gonna have to pay to rent a moving truck. That can cost a couple $100s. And on top of that, it's not only the moving truck, but a lot of stratas actually charge what's called a move-in fee. This fee can also be a couple $100, $200, $300, depending on your strata. Now what this fee is for is so that they can prepare the elevator and make sure that everything's ready to go for you when you move in to minimize any damage. And yes, if you live on the ground floor, you still have to pay this fee, even though you will not be using the elevator. I made this mistake when I bought my place, and I did have to pay the fee even though I didn't use it once because I could get into my apartment through the back door anyways. So it's a bit ridiculous, but honestly, they're just trying to build up that reserve that they have so that if any issues come down the road, they have money available for that. So expect to have a fee of a couple $100s with your strata. Some don't, but most of them do. Next up, you got your heating costs on a month-to-month basis. This is going to depend on where you live and also the size of property you have. If you're in a condo in British Columbia, you're likely looking at about $75 a month. If you're in a townhouse, you're going to be looking closer to $100 a month, and then detached homes are about 150 plus. It really depends on how much heat you need. Obviously, if you live somewhere that's very cold and you need to heat your house year round, it's going to cost you a bit more money. Number 3 would be home insurance. Now, this will actually be required by most lenders. They won't even give you a mortgage if you can't verify that you can get home insurance on that property. The reason being is they want to make sure you have the standard bases covered, which would be fire, flood, and earthquake insurance. In order to get these 3, you're likely looking at close to $100 a month, but typically most insurers such as BCAA have deals where if you've been using them year after year after year, they give a discount per year for their members. Number 4 would be your monthly strata fee. This on condos typically ranges from $300 to $500, and this is a very good indicator on the health of the entire property. If your strata fee is outrageously high, like way over $600, then there might be something wrong with that property, meaning that there might be a repair coming up, and the reason why the strata fee is so high is they're trying to draw in a bunch of money into that reserve so that they can afford to cover that. Keep in mind that even if a strata has money in the reserve, that does not mean you're off the hook for coughing up a bit of cash if an issue comes up, such as a roof replacement. But strata fees, typically $300 to $500 for condos, and honestly the same kind of range for townhouses as well. And then the most detached homes don't have a strata, so there'd be no fee involved there. Number 5 is your annual property taxes. It's going to depend on where you live. Here in BC, for a condo, it's likely going to be under $2,000 a year. And if you are a homeowner living in that property, British Columbia actually gives you what's called a homeowner's grant, which is $570 towards that property tax. Okay, so those are quite a few things that you're going to be paying on a monthly basis and you continuously pay. But what about the one-time payments when buying a home? The things like your appraisal fee, your inspection fee, your property transfer tax. Let's go into that right now. So number 1, we got your appraisal fee. And now this isn't guaranteed that you're gonna need to get this, but some lenders will require an appraiser to go to the property to verify its value. The reason why is that banks will only lend a certain percentage of the value of the property. So it doesn't matter what you purchased it for, they want to lend on the value. Therefore, if you're putting 20% down, you're allowed to get an uninsured mortgage. You no longer need mortgage default insurance, but they want to make sure that they are only lending 80% on that property. Therefore, they will request an appraiser to go to the property, verify its value, and this is something that you have to pay for, and it's about $350 to $500 depending on the property. Not to worry, if you work with us at White Ridge Mortgage, we definitely cover that for you. We reimburse you at closing as our little gift to say congratulations on being a new homeowner. Next up, you got your home inspection. Now, it is so important to get a home inspection done. There is honestly no reason why you shouldn't get a home inspection done, regardless of if it's a new property or not, because developers aren't perfect either. Think of it this way. If you were to buy a used car, you typically go and give it to a mechanic to have them checked out, or you bring someone with you to go check it out that knows cars. Same thing goes for a home. Why would you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and not have someone check it out to make sure there's no issues that are going to come up soon in the future? A home inspection is going to cost you about $350 to $500, but it could save you tens of thousands of dollars down the road. Number 3 is title insurance. This is a one-time payment at the lawyer's office, and it is required. It's between about $175 and $225. It really depends on the property itself, and this title insurance is there to protect you in case any liens or disputes are still left on the title after closing. And it basically ensures that you're not liable for them. Number 4 is your legal fees. When you buy a home, you're gonna have to use either a notary or a lawyer for your final signing. Now, there's a couple things to consider because they offer the same service, but the level of service they give is quite a bit different. You see, with a notary, their job is to prepare the documents and witness you sign them. You see, with a lawyer, they're there to do that same stuff, but they're also there to advise you. So a notary is not going to give you advice, a lawyer will, and they may also represent you in court if anything goes wrong, whereas a notary would not. See, because they're offering different levels of service, obviously there's going to be a different cost. If you're going with a notary, you're probably looking at about $1,200 to $1,500. If you're going with a lawyer, it can be $1,500 to $2,500 or even more in some cases. But honestly, it is so worth it to use a lawyer. Like I said, this is a huge purchase. You're not going to be doing it very often. You might as well spend the extra money and get the proper advice. Okay, now these last two are pretty big ones. We got your mortgage default insurance. This is a percentage of your entire loan amount. If you put less than 20% down on a home in Canada, you're required to get this. And if you put the minimum of 5% down, you have to pay a 4% mortgage default insurance premium. So on a $500,000 purchase and you're putting $25,000 down, you're actually gonna pay $19,000 in mortgage default insurance. Not to worry, this is the one cost that can actually get added into the mortgage where the other ones have to get paid out of pocket. This cost does get reduced the more you plan to put down, but the lowest it actually goes is 2.8% of your entire loan amount, so it still is quite substantial. And lastly, we got your land transfer tax or your property transfer tax. It's different province to province. Here in BC, it's 1% of the first $200,000 and 2% of the remaining purchase price up to $2 million. So if you're buying a $500,000 home, then you're gonna pay $8,000 in property transfer tax because it's $2,000 on that first 200, and then that remaining 300,000 is at 2%. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, you do actually get a benefit where you're exempt from this under $500,000, and then you actually can purchase all the way up to $835 now, and you're only paying the percentage on the amount between $500 and $835. If you want more info on this, I do have a video going over all your first-time home buyer incentives. I highly recommend watching that. But hopefully by now we have gone over pretty much all the costs associated with buying a home, and you're confident that if you buy one, you know you can afford it. My goal with this video was really just to make sure that if you are buying a home, you're not showing up at the lawyer's office and seeing a bunch of extra charges added in there and not knowing what they are. Now, if you're looking to buy and you need to start the process, be sure to reach out. You can book a call with the link in the description. I'm always more than happy to help. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified, and like this video. It would do me a huge favor and it would help people just like you find videos just like this and hopefully help them out when buying their first home. Lastly, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope to catch you on the next one.